Hi, this evening we focus on Afghanistan. This video was planned, but the terrible news of the death of Danish Siddiqui, an Indian and Reuters chief photojournalist, has made it even more important and urgent. Danish was killed while covering clashes between the Afghan forces and the Taliban in Spin Boldak. It's a border point that connects the city of Kandahar to Pakistan. Now, a lot is happening in Afghanistan. The US is withdrawing its troops. The Taliban is gaining ground. Countries, including India, want to have a say in who should be part of the new order. We've structured this video slightly differently because a lot of you asked some very pertinent questions when we put this in our stories. So we'll do a quick context setting for those who are new to this and then answer the questions systematically. You'd know that after the 9/11 attacks, the US sent thousands of troops to Afghanistan, where Al-Qaeda, the terror outfit behind the attacks, was based. The idea was to make sure the Taliban, then in power in Afghanistan, could no longer harbor groups like the Al-Qaeda. Since then, 20 years later, a lot has changed and a lot has remained the same. But in crux, the 9/11 mastermind Osama bin Laden was killed in Pakistan. The Al-Qaeda diminished, but the ISIS has gained hold. The US realized that the war on terror was unwinnable, so to speak. By 2019, 2,400 US soldiers had been killed, 20,000 were injured. Some $776 billion has been spent in Afghanistan, and yet the Taliban regains their foothold. In 2016, Donald Trump came to power. He deputed a special envoy to negotiate directly with the Taliban, cutting out even the Afghanistan government. The result was a peace agreement signed in Doha in 2020. Two highlights of that you must know. The Taliban guarantees that Afghanistan will not be used against the US and its allies, and in turn, the US withdraws all troops in a timely manner and shuts down all its military bases. May 2021 was the withdrawal date, but the pandemic meant it's 9/11/2021 now, the 20th anniversary of the attacks, though Joe Biden says it will be August 31st.
In the first week of July this year, the US quietly withdrew from the Bagram Air Force Base, the headquarters of its military operations, without any notice. Taliban forces have been moving steadily, claiming they control 85% of the 421 districts in Afghanistan, a claim that is extremely tough to verify. In recent weeks, the Taliban has taken control of a string of border crossings, including with Iran, Uzbekistan, and Tajikistan. The latest, a strategic border crossing with Pakistan, Spin Boldak. There are reports that many posts have fallen without a fight. So that's where we are today. The US is leaving, violence is escalating between the Afghan government troops and the Taliban, which is acting like a government in waiting. Experts say that the mainstreaming of the Taliban in Afghan politics is only a matter of time.
Now to the questions, and many of you posted some fantastic ones. We are answering them with the help of experts. Waqar Yunus asked the threats for India as the Taliban came to power. Well, Waqar, yes, India has many things to worry about, which is why you may have heard that for the first time in 2 decades, New Delhi is directly talking to members of the Taliban. The question is, how does a Taliban-controlled Afghanistan affect India? Well, Sirajuddin Haqqani is the second highest ranking commander in the Taliban, and his very powerful faction has attacked Indian assets in the past, including the Indian embassy in Kabul. So yes, the anti-India activities will continue. A latest BBC report, in fact, mentioned Taliban firing a large number of mortars at the India-funded Salma Dam in Herat. It's actually officially called the Afghan-India Friendship Bridge. India has begun evacuating nationals. The Indian consulate in Kandahar was vacated recently. Many of you are also nudging us about Pakistan's role now and in the future. Well, it's of immense concern. The more Islamabad is in the picture in a Taliban-controlled Afghanistan, the more India is out, despite New Delhi having invested $3 billion in Afghanistan since 2002. Now, Pakistan's intelligence agency, the ISI, has close ties with the Taliban, especially the Haqqani faction. Remember, Trump knocked on Pakistan's door to bring Taliban to the negotiating table? Their influence is only growing in a sense as US troops are withdrawing. Afghanistan President Amrullah Saleh, I think, tweeted just a day ago that the Pakistan Air Force was helping Taliban with air support and had warned the Afghan military forces against any move to dislodge the Taliban from Spin Buldak. It's the same border point where Danish Siddiqui was killed. Pakistan, of course, has denied this. Another thing to note here is the Tehreek-e-Taliban. Well, it's often referred to as the Pakistani Taliban. It's a designated terror group that has conducted terror activities against Pakistan from Afghanistan soil.
In case you are wondering, the Afghan Taliban is considered an Islamic fundamentalist group, but not a designated terrorist group. But the Pakistani Taliban, the Tehreek-e-Taliban, is a designated terrorist group. The third worrying aspect for India is the growing presence of ISIS in Afghanistan. There have been several reports about Indians being radicalized and recruited by ISIS. Next question. Abhinav039 asks, will China accept and support the Taliban as leaders of Afghanistan? China evacuated 210 of its nationals from Afghanistan last week. Taliban has called China a friend of Afghanistan and is hoping to talk to Beijing about investing in reconstruction work as soon as possible. China wants the Taliban to make a clean break from all terrorist activities, especially the Al-Qaeda-backed Uyghur Muslim extremist group ETIM fighting for the Xinjiang province. This is where China is allegedly holding lakhs of Uyghur Muslims in concentration camps, mentally, physically and sexually torturing them to re-educate them away from Islam. The worry on Beijing's part is that once the Taliban are in power, the ETIM fighters will sneak into Xinjiang. China has surprisingly sided with the Afghan government, which often blames China's all-weather ally Pakistan for harboring the Taliban. 4 of you, Shivam Shivastav, Kamakya _, Kshitish Kapoor and Zishan had a similar question along the lines of, what's going to happen to the people of Afghanistan if the Taliban comes to power? The Taliban has actually been very clear about what it wants. Once the US leaves, they told the BBC in April that they want, and I quote, an Islamic government ruled by the Sharia. What does this mean? Hints can be taken from how it ruled Afghanistan from 1996 until being overthrown in the aftermath of the 9/11 attacks. So, social restrictions on women such as mandatory burqa coverings, restricting their access to healthcare, education and jobs, prohibiting women from appearing in public spaces without a male chaperone, etc. Or more recent anecdotes collected by the BBC where a local from a village taken over by the Taliban described villagers being slapped or beaten for shaving their beards or having their stereos smashed for listening to music. Just today, the Taliban has issued a statement ordering local religious leaders to give them a list of girls over 15 and widows under 45 in captured areas who will be married to their fighters. The people of Afghanistan are scared. They are running from violence, clashes, into meager relief. Taliban 2001, pre-2001 and in 2021 look very much the same.
To end, we'll answer Akhilesh's question. And frankly, Akhilesh, it's a question on everyone's mind. The Taliban is back. Was all of this really worth it? The US being stationed there all these years? Well, depends on who you ask. The Taliban says they've held the reins all along. The US says it has defeated Al Qaeda, it has struck a peace deal with the Taliban, so in a sense, its job is done. But remember, it's a US Taliban peace deal that has brought no semblance of relief to the people of Afghanistan, especially its women. When President Joe Biden was recently asked why vacate Afghanistan when locals are most likely going to face hell at the hands of the Taliban, he said he can't take responsibility for nation building everywhere he sees human rights violations. Odd, right? Considering everywhere the US invited itself, it did for precisely this very reason. I'll leave it here. I hope this was helpful. If this has been worthy of your time, or if you'd like us to do more, please drop a message, please share this video, and please do make a contribution to help Newsworthy continue doing this work. The link to contribute is in our bio or in the description. We'll see you again very soon.